Hi everybody, this is Lefty Dad, and today I'm going to do a video on how to play Replay PC Baseball. And Replay PC Baseball is a direct port of the tabletop card and dice game, and I am going to show you what it's like to play a game from my 1948 replay. And you can see here is kind of the daily report screen for the league that's going on, and I'm about 30 or 35 games into the season so far. You can see Cleveland, the Indians, which won the pennant that year, are really doing incredibly great. And a little bit surprisingly, the Cubs over there in the National League are doing well. The Boston Braves, who won the pennant that year, are currently 2 games below 500, and they're just having trouble getting some of their good hitters to hit up to average. You can see that so far Al Zarilla from the Browns is hitting .414, and Hal Jeffcoat in the National League is hitting .402. Those numbers will go down to more realistic numbers as the season progresses. Like I say, we're about probably a fifth of the way through the season. Namaggio has 11 home runs. Hank Sauer has 13, and in fact, in a game that I played earlier today, he hit 2 home runs. And DiMaggio has some great RBI numbers too. So this is what the screen looks like when you first open the game, and there's only we're currently playing May 29th, and I can click on May 29th up here and then go to schedule, and I go down to the bottom here because all the other games have been played, and you see a little recap here of what happened in those games. You can click on box score and see the box score. This game is going to be at the Polo Grounds, Philadelphia Phillies against the New York Giants. And I can go to team summary here. This is kind of interesting. And I can look up the New York National League Giants, and this gives a really nice summary of, I guess that's why they call it team summary, of what's going on with the New York Giants. You see how they're ranked over here on the left-hand side offensively, and in terms of their pitching, they're not doing so great in terms of the pitching, but their hitting is good. Their on-base percentage is first in the National League, and they're second in batting average and home runs. And I can look at the Phillies. So the Giants currently, and up here you can see a little, you can see their home record, their road record, last 10 games doing well, although they've lost the last 2. And then the Philadelphia Phillies, they're having a lot of trouble with their hitting, although Richie Ashburn, who was a rookie this year, is hitting 340, so he's doing great. Anyway, I have the sound turned off for the game because it comes through insanely loud, but it's really nice sound with the game too. So I go to quick start. You can go to play, and if you're doing a draft league, or you're doing something that isn't as played replay like I'm doing, then you may want to fiddle with the lineups and stuff like that, which you can do with play. But I go to quick start, and I'm going to play I'm going to manage the New York Giants. So this shows you what the real lineup was for May 29th, 1948. Monk, I don't know if I can pronounce his name, Dubile against Thornton Lee. So I click here, and this says all AI will make all the decisions for Philadelphia. And New York has a 2-game losing streak. They're currently at 500. So this is always an interesting picture. They have different splash screens. There are some people who have climbed up trees to be able to look into the Polo Grounds. So you can see this is a really, really beautiful game, and it's by and far the most beautiful computer game out there, and it is programmed by Richard Hanna, who anything he programs is brilliant and perfect, and the programming in this is perfect. the AI is perfect, and there's never any kind of a glitch. There's never any kind of a stupid decision, substituting or base running or anything by the AI. In fact, occasionally the AI will do something that I thought, well, I don't think I would have done that. But then if I take a moment and think about it, it's probably a better decision than I would have made. So I actually learn, I think, from the AI. Anyway, to play the game, in the upper right-hand corner is the ballpark factors, and there along the upper, the top of this card, it shows, this is for home runs, and you can see it's a lot easier statistically in the Polo Grounds to hit a home run if you're a left-handed batter. I can explain this more as it comes up, but basically you're rolling either one die 1 through 6, you're rolling 2 dice 1 through 6, and it depends on how you use the number. As a general rule, the smaller the number, the better it is for the offensive player usually. And then there's a column 2 and a column 3, and those determine what kind of a hitter's park it was for anything but a home run, basically singles. And it also factors in how the defense of the outfield is. And there's also a breakdown in terms of if the field had a lot of foul territory, so there are a lot of foul outs. And at Polo Grounds, there's a lot of foul territory. In the lower right-hand corner, it's really cool. This shows you the lineup. It shows you how they bat, but it also shows you and it shows you their current batting average, but as the game progresses, it'll show if they got a hit, it'll be like 0 for 1 or 1 for 2. But if you click on game, you can see how they're doing so far this season. These are all replay stats. Against left-handed pitching, home runs, you can see Del Ennis has 6 home runs so far this year. Shows the RBI totals again. Ennis is the offensive star of the team, although Verbon there down there, the second baseman, batting 8th, is doing really great. There's the on-base percentage, and Sizzler is doing very well with the on-base percentage. He's the son of the Hall of Fame Sizzler, and then OPS. And it shows you that Ennis is doing great, but Ashburn actually has the highest OPS on the team. Over on the left-hand side, up here will be the pitcher, and everything is determined by these 6 columns and 6 rows, and the same for the batter. And I'll show you how that works with these 3 dice. And if you were playing manually, you'd have red, white, and blue dice. And the stats here on the batter card and the stats on the pitcher card are the current replay stats, but you can go up here to options and change that so you could see what their real stats were. And if you right-click, or if you left-click on Richie Ashburn, for instance, you can see how they're doing so far this year, and then you can see down below what the real stat totals were, and you can see Richie Ashburn is doing, his debut was up, a lot of really great information up here too, which is nice. It even shows you where they're born, Tilden, Nebraska. I'm in Omaha, Nebraska, but I don't really know where Tilden is. I have to look that up. But he is a rookie this year. He debuted on April 20th, which is probably when the season began, and you can see that he is overachieving, but he had a really great year. So, I mean, he hit .333, so he's only 7 points above what he did that year. And you can see it's a fourth of the way. It's a little more than a fourth of the way, but for instance, stolen bases, he's doing a little better with stolen bases, but it really will all even out to be extremely accurate by the end of the season. You look here, Thornton Lee. You can see so far this year he started twice and he's had 3 games in relief. And it's nice too. You always see the whip up here, walks and hits per inning, and you can see the breakdown here. He's doing better than he did in real life, but he only was pitching for 33 innings, so, and he's 41 years old. In the infield here, you see how they're rated. Outfielders, the higher the number, 1 through 5, higher the number, the better. And then, like for instance, the left fielder Lockman 3 indicates his arm strength in terms of throwing accuracy and everything. Higher the better. So Willard Marshall over here in right field is better at throwing. And then the second number is error chances, and that is based on numbers 11 through 66 with 2 dice rolled. The first dice being tens, second dice being single digits. So Lockman and Marshall are okay. I mean, they're, I think something like 42 or 43 is average maybe, but maybe I'm wrong about that. But Thompson, if a ball gets hit to him, it's almost guaranteed to be an error will occur if they're looking for an error reading. They don't look for an error reading on every play, just occasionally. Then on the infield, it's the opposite. The smaller the number in the circle, in the black circle, the better. And generally, you're trying to roll a number that is smaller than these numbers when the plays occur, and also examples of that. But for instance, with Gordon, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. You've got 2/3 out of 6. You've got 67% chance of it being equal or smaller than a 4. So that would mean his range is limited and a ball would get past him. Whereas Johnny Mize over here, only a 1 or 2 out of a 6 die roll would be a hit that his range couldn't handle. So he has you only have a 33% chance of getting by him, whereas you have a 67% chance of getting by Gordon. The pitcher, the green number indicates how many batters you can face before you become fatigued. And when you become fatigued, over here on the pitcher card, they have an A row and a B row, and you go to the B row is always bad, and the higher the numbers are always bad. But there are a lot of interesting complexities that add to the interesting things about the game and the realism of the game that no other computer PC game has that could come into effect. So, and down here you can see what Thornton's stats are so far this season, and then what he's doing in the game so far. You can see Ashburn's stats, and as the game goes on, it'll record what he's done with each at bat. So to begin the game, you can you can just click enter, and most of what you do in the game is just clicking enter. So the game goes by really fast if you wanted to go by fast. You can auto play up to a certain inning. If you click on this, you can see you can make detailed substitutions. Although if you just, I don't think I can substitute until the game starts. But if you can also just click on any of these players, and you can automatically do a substitution. But you also could click on these dice. So you click on the dice, and I have it set to stop. Normally, it'll wait for a few seconds and go on to the next hitter. But since I kind of want to explain for people that aren't familiar with the game how this all works. The first number, 6, indicates which. So another thing that's really great about this game is that I think it truly merges the pitcher and the batter cards in a way that really no other computer game does, and you can see. I mean, I guess there are games like Diamond Mind or Action PC where they combine it, but you really it's all under the hood, so you don't really know how the outcome occurred. But here you can really see how the outcome occurred. So you've got 6. The red 6 creates the the 6th column here, and then the next one, 1, is for the hitter, and then so you go to the number 1 row, and that's a 16, and the 5 goes to the pitcher. So you go to the 5 row, and 3 and 16 equals 19. And that would be a deep fly to right field. Now, if you have the board game, you have the charts that you could look up the chart. You could see a 19 in these circumstances would be a deep fly out. And a lot of the time in the game, it will show you here kind of a little partial view of the screen, so you can see if something had happened a little differently, you would have had a different outcome. But we'll see if that comes up. Anyway, so there's 1 out, and you can see it was to right field, so the right fielder up here is illuminated. And
One out, base is empty.
yeah, I thought I had all the sound off. Let me look here. Oh, I guess I don't. So let me turn all the sound off. There's a lot of sound that you can have, both in terms of voice, and the voice, after playing 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 games, it never is irritating, or, I always have it on. I have it on to the max because it's informative. It will give you some season updates as you're going along. If they hit their 20th home run, I guess, or 50th RBI or something. And then there are a lot of other sounds too, and I have those turned off. So now we'll go back to the game, and Putsy Caballero. I think he's the only player in NFL or NBA or Major League history named Putsy. And you can see, does that mean? I don't know. He's 5'10". I don't know what Putsy really means, but it's not pudgy, because he only weighs 170 pounds. Anyway, you could either click any of these 3 dice, or I'll just hit enter, and then you'll see the dice spin, and it shows up yellow here. So it's very fast to reference. It's the 3 column, and you have a 6, so that 6 is yellow, and you have a 1, and so that's 45. And you go down here and you see that 45 is a single to left, so he's on first base. And there are righty-lefty advantages. It's not as extreme as in some games where they have it down to the 100th of a percentage point. For the most part, if there's a right-handed pitcher, left-handed pitcher, right-handed batter, or vice versa, it's an advantage, and I can show you how that is. However, if there are extreme instances where a pitcher had extreme, a big gulf between facing right-handed batters or left-handed batters, that will be taken into account in the game. And and if you're playing for a whole season, if a player gets traded and the player performed drastically different from one team to another team, they'll give you 2 different cards for the player. And the other nice thing is that all of this is automatic. All the trades are automatic. Everything is automatic. So it truly is a replay player's dream. Okay, so we've got guy on first base. Blatnick is up. If you look at the Blatnick's card, well, let's look at the pitcher card first. In general, the 4 column says F, because that's really, the outcome is dependent on the fielding rating, depending on to which fielder the ball is hit. The 5th column, number 5 column, generally is if a pitcher walks a lot of players. The higher the numbers in here, the more walks will occur. And that's because you'll be comparing a 6-sided dice to a number, and if it's below the number, the player will walk. So the higher the number you have in this column, the more likely it is it's going to be lower. This has a range from 1 to 4, which means that I always kind of think of it as the pitcher can be streaky. Sometimes he can be really sharp, and sometimes he'll lose command, but over the long term, he's kind of an average control pitcher, but it's not extreme one way or the other. The sixth column is for long ball home runs. And again, this is kind of distributed in a way that would show that he's kind of an average pitcher in terms of giving up home runs. Again, it can be kind of streaky. He can be really good or not so good. The three column is kind of for base hits, and you can see that Thornton Lee probably gives up more base hits than the average pitcher, because 4 of the 6 numbers are 4 or higher. And the first 2 columns relate more to, if you have the game, you can, I'm not going to bring up the PDF that explains all the rules and everything, but they do give a breakdown, very, very well done breakdown of what the different columns mean. And they're more with hits and errors and things like that. And down here for the hitters, again, like the pitcher, the 6th column is about hitting home runs. The 5 column involves walks, but it involves a lot of other things too, so it's not quite as simple. I think on the PDF that comes with the game, that you also get with the, it comes with the computer game, they have a little explanation here. The 4 column has to do with ground balls, especially grounding into double plays, and the more ones over here, or the lower numbers, the more likely you're going to ground in a double play. The 3, all of these 1 through 3 column have to do with hits and walks and strikeouts. If you have ones here in the 1 and 2 column, it's kind of an automatic strikeout usually. And if you have ones in the 4 column, it'll be an automatic double play. So that there is a good chance of a double play in this situation with the runner on first. Now I'm on defense, so I can't decide what's going to happen. So all I can do is pitch. So and also down here is a bunt rating, and a 5 is not good at bunting, and a 1 is the best at bunting. So he's pretty good at bunting. So he could bunt, but we'll see here. He's not going to bunt, and there's a 1 up here, and a 1 down there, 1 up in the pitcher. And now here's an example of how they show you a little bit of the chart, which I think is really great, because you don't have to have a whole big chart coming on the screen. You don't have to like look at a chart. But you can see if the outcome would be 1 through 6, it's a strikeout. But if it would have been 7 to 11, it would be a foul out. So it's going to be an out. But if it's a strikeout hitter and a strikeout pitcher, you're going to have a much greater chance of adding to the strikeout totals of either player. And in this case, it was like a 1 for the pitcher and 1 for the batter. So it really was definitely a strikeout. So now we have Dick Sizzler, who is doing really great. And in the 6th column, the best you could get for hitting home runs is an 11. And the lowest you go is an 8. So he's not exactly, I can click on him here, I right or left click. He only hit 11 home runs out of 446 at bats, so he's not slugging average of 408. He's not going to hit a lot of home runs. And this is an example of the righty-lefty matchups. Over here especially, you have 2 numbers, and if it's a lefty-lefty matchup, you use the one on the left-hand side, which is the 16, which is a deep fly to the outfield. And if it would happen to be a right-handed pitcher, then you would use this number, which is a 60, which is normally a double, but oftentimes it'll be a home run. So this does show you how they take into account the righty-lefty splits. Anyway, so now we've got Sizzler up, and Sizzler hits a 4 column, red 4, which generally means a ground ball to the infield, and it's a 5 and a 7, because it's a 4 for the hitter, and then the blue die is a 6, and that adds up 2 and 5, add up to 7, and that's an out at first. So we're done with the first inning, and now we've got Monk. I was going to call him Monk. He pitched for Philadelphia. He was in 37 games. 6 of them so far this season have been starts, and went 150 innings. So, and 3.89 ERA and a 1.31 WHIP. So he's pretty much an average pitcher, I'd say. So here he's pitching against Bill Rigney, and 1 second here while I move my cat out of the way. And okay, so here we have where we use this ballpark effect, and it is 61. So it's called a column 2 because it's a 2 column, and Monk here his numbers are really not that great up here because there are a lot of 4s and 5s. His saving grace is that his 3 column, the numbers are really small. They're all under 4, so that does hold down if people get hits against him, but it looks like a lot of again, you'd have to look at the PDF to really see what these first 2 columns indicate, but they indicate a whole bunch of stuff. Anyway, so it's column 2, so you look over at column 2, and this will be what it represents is a drive to the gap in the outfield. So this will indicate how well the outfielder, and it's the right fielder, F9. So if you end up with a 1 or 2 up here, the outfielder will catch the ball, and if it's 3, 4, and 5, it'll be a double into the gap. And it's not just rolling one die and getting a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's highly fine-tuned up here because you're rolling 2 dice. The red one is the first digit, and the white one is the second digit. So 11 through 31 is a 1. What it means is that you've got a lot of possibilities to get a 1, and in fact, half of your possibilities are to get a fly out. And so it may look like, oh gee, he's going to get a double, but that isn't really exact. And you can see it's broken down here on the card also. So we roll this, and you see 42. It's a fly out, and all of the. So you look down here, you've got a 65. 61 through 65 is a line drive towards the gap in the outfield. Outfielder races to make the catch. Ballpark effect, column 2. Roll 2 dice. So it's all. I think it's all very nicely explained here, and it even shows you the scoring fly out to the right fielder. Okay, now Whitey Lockman is up, and you can see over here Rigney. He's 0 for 1 now, and his batting average will go down. So it's all current update. And now Lockman, 11 is always it's generally an error, but it wasn't an error in this case. So Monk's number up here was a 5, and 11 over here for Lockman, and that added up to 16, and a 15 or 16 is a single to right field. So Lockman is on. His average went up. I can't remember what it was before, but now it's up to 285. Now Bobby Thompson is up. He's hitting 313, and you see over in the home run area, he's got a 10, which in most cases will be an automatic home run, but in the 4 column, he's all 1s. So I have to kind of decide, do I want to try to hit and run? And the hit and run numbers are down here, and a lot of games have a very generic vanilla breakdown of hit and runs. This is really complicated, and there is an article on the website that talks about how to analyze the hit and run, but basically they're configured so that they accurately reflect how the hitter would do with a hit and run. I think that like the 10s here are kind of bad. It means that there are strikeouts which are not good in a hit and run, but on the other hand, he's quite likely to hit into a double play. So I can hit and run over here, or I could sacrifice. He's kind of an average at sacrificing. I don't really want to do that with one out. But just for, I'll do the hit and run so you can see how that kind of works. So you click on hit and run, and that it becomes yellow. And then you click on the number, and you get a 32 down here. Oh, see, defense calls for a pitch out. As catcher's defense rating is not higher than the lead running speed. If it had been, if the catcher's defense rating, Andy Semenuk, is a 3 defensively, Lockman is a 5 for his speed, it would have been an automatic out. But because it's not, now I roll a 6-sided dice. If it's 4, 5, or 6 at the stolen base, 1, 2, or 3, he's out. So basically a 50-50 chance, and it's a 4. So as die is higher, runners steal safely, runner on for. So this is all really beautiful, and it's just always a great joy to have all this done so well. And as you can see, there are graphics, in terms of player photos and things like that. These ballpark cards are beautiful, and unlike some other games, you don't have to rearrange where all the fielders are positioned. This is done in a very sane way so that you don't lose your mind every time you have a different ballpark, having to go through kind of tiresome and irritating machinations to get the first baseman to be standing by the first base bag and things like that. Okay, so now Lockman stole second. We still have one out, and Thompson is still at bat. Now I don't have to worry about the double play. We can hope he hits a home run. There aren't weather effects per se in the game. However, it is possible for a game to be called early because of rain if it's not a modern stadium with a roof on it or something. There are also a lot of rare plays which haven't really come up yet, but the rare plays are really interesting and well done, and players can get injured in the game. All kinds of things can happen with the rare plays. I hope one comes up. I'm only going to show you 2 innings. Okay, 21, that's going to be a hit because I just have played so many games I know that's going to be a hit. So 21 and then the 3 up here make it a 24. So it's a long single to center. That means that Lockman is going to score, but now I have the option of trying to stretch this into a double, and I can either click here or press 1 to hold the batter at first, or I can press 2 or click here to have the batter try for second. And another nice thing is all these little charts pop up and then they go away. So this is a stretched single chart, and you roll 2 dice, and if the red die is a 1 or through 4, he's safe. If it's a 5 or 6, then the second dice, there'll be 2 dice rolled. He's safe if the second die is a 1 through 4, or if in this case a 3 through 6. So I'm going to have him statistically. It's more likely than not that he'll be successful in stretching it to a single, and I already have a 1-run lead because Lockman scored, so we're going to do batter to second. Now roll red and white die. So the red will indicate if it's a 1 through 4 red, he's going to be safe. 5 to 6, he could not be safe. So it's a 3, so he's automatically, so it says here he safely advances to second, so it's a double. So in that play, now we've got Johnny Mize up, who currently, a lot of great information. He's 35 years old. You can see that. You can see he played 152 games at second base. If you click on here, you see how tall he is, how much he weighs, how he throws in bats, when he was born, where he was born, when he debuted, all this great stuff. So this could be a walk, because again, this is where a lot of walks occur in the 5 column. And we got his highest number for walks up here because it was a 6. A blue 6, and then we add that to 2, and that's a 6. And you can see down here, here's a little they show a portion of the chart. If it would have been, if he would have had a 3 up here, for instance, it would have only been a 5, and it would have been a ground out. But because he was a 4, a higher number, which is bad, it goes up to a 6. And if this number would have been higher, like this is a 4, I don't think it could be really high enough, because it'd have to be up to an 11, and you can't really, you'd have to have a 7. So, but there are instances where players have higher numbers here, and they could get hit by the pitch. Anyway, he walks. So this brings up Willard Marshall, who's currently hitting 264, and we only have 1 out. Now he has fewer 1s over here. And you'll see too, there are instances where pitchers are ground ball pitchers or fly ball pitchers. That will be reflected. You don't really see it in this card. It was, I guess, more evenly distributed in this instance. And batters too will have more ground balls or fly balls. In the 2 column, there'll often be 35s, which indicate he's a ground ball. He hits a lot of ground balls, which means he also hits into double plays. But here there are 16s, which means that he hits fly balls, and these 16s are generally deep flyouts, which will be sacrifice flies if you had a runner on third and less than 2 outs. However, in 1948, they discontinued, they didn't allow the rule of sacrifice flies, so they were just considered outs, which this game you can set in the options, and I have it set that way realistically. I think it caused Ted Williams one of those years not to win a batting title because all of his sacrifice flies were counted as flyouts. Anyway, Marshall is up. We have 1 out. He's a fly ball hitter, so I think we'll let him hit away here. And 50 is, it's a 2 column, 50 plus 4, 54 ground out, second base to first base. This is what you'd see on the chart. It tells you what all the runners do. And if you like to play cards and dice, you can use this to keep all the statistics and everything for you too. There's an option to do that, so that plays over. And again, generally, I play without this having to press a button to end the play. It just goes to the next one. Now Sid Gordon is up. We have 2 outs, but we have runners on second and third, so we'll let him hit away. It's going to be a home run. Yeah, because it's an 11. He's a slugger, and he had the highest number you could get here for a home run, and Monk had a very high number here. So you can see they add up to 15. If he would have had an 8, well, I guess if he would have had pretty much, it's going to be a home run. Well, I guess if you had a 12 or a 13, maybe it was a home run too. But anyway, it was a 15, and a 15 is a home run. If it was a 7 or 11, it would have been a single. So there the Giants are leaping out to a 4-run lead. If you automatically get, if you get 6 runs, if the pitcher gives up 6 earned runs, you automatically go down to your B rating. So we're kind of getting close to that. He has 17 batters yet that he can face before he has to worry about if he's going to get too tired to go on. Anyway, we've got Westrom up. That's going to be, oh, he walks. Now, because, now good, we have the early hook base runner. I'll show you how that works. So that was a 5 column, and it was a 3 and 3. So 3 plus 5 equals 8. That's a base on balls. But there's a plus here, so that means that Westrom will be forced to steal second base. Now, late in the game, if you're kind of behind, and it would be kind of foolish to try to steal a base if you were behind by 3 runs in the 9th inning, you'll see instead of yellow, there'll be a little plus sign here that'll be orange, so you don't have to do that. But as soon as I click end play, you'll see a little plus sign in yellow. That means he's going to have to try to steal. Now, there are a lot of instances where it's an asterisk instead of a plus. That means if you get a good jump, you can try to steal. Actually, if you get a good jump, I believe you will steal. But if you don't get a good jump, you won't steal. So it's not like every time a steal up number comes up, you have to steal. And I like this, that the game decides when you're going to steal. I know there are a lot of control freaks that would hate this, but I really like it because other games where you have to worry about that, it just gets a little tedious. Okay, but now there is a formula that indicates, depending on whether the pitch is really good or really bad. If the pitch is really good and lets in a few runs or runners, you could go to early hook. If the pitch is really bad, they have to kind of do bad before they get an early hook because they're not expected to do so great. But this is now in the early hook base runner mode, and if he lets another base runner on, he will go temporarily to his B rating, and then if he gets another out, there will be a die roll which will determine whether he can return to his A rating, which is good, or whether he has to stay at his B rating. So now we end the play. There's that plus sign here, and you can't do. You have to steal. So I believe you just click this, steal, and then he's going to steal. Okay. Now when he steals, they add up again, I don't know exactly how this works, but it gives you a number here, 36, and you have to roll 2 dice, and it has to be above 36. The red has to be above a 3. It just, and then the white has to be, well, I guess you have to have the next highest number, which is not 37, which is 41. So you'd have to have a 41 or higher. And so we'll see now if Westrom is successful. You better be good at stealing in order to be successful here, and he is. Wow! And in fact, if there's a 6 on the white, it could indicate that there was a throwing error, and Andy Semenuk is only an 11 in terms of his error rating, so it's practically guaranteed that he's going to throw the ball into the outfield. And it's 35, it's higher than 11. So Westrom stole second, and there was they threw it to the outfield. And all of this is recorded here, how the scoring worked and everything. Okay, now I believe he's still on his early hook situation here. So Buddy Kerr, the shortstop, will hit, and this happens on a 45 where you get base action. So with men on base, if you come up, this is a 47 because it's 45 plus 2. If you roll a number between 46 and 50 with men on base, you have to go to the base action, and this could indicate a wild pitch, it could indicate a balk, it could indicate a pass ball, but basically you're rolling 2 dice, and you add them up. Well, yeah, I think you add them up, and there's individual wild pitch ratings here. The catchers have individual pass ball ratings, but let's see here. So if you get a 6, which is when you're rolling 2 dice, there are many more chances to get a 6 or 7 or 8 than there are 2 or 3 or an 11 or 12. It means nothing. There was a pitch in the dirt, but it was blocked. Okay, and which is a good thing because there's a runner on third. So we'll try again here, and this will be a rare play. Okay, good. You get to see a rare play. So when there's a 57 over here, and then you add the 1 onto it, it gets to be 58. So a 58 through 62 is a rare play. But basically, when there's a 57, you're going to have a rare play. And then you roll 1 die here, and if it's even, it's like a little dribbler to the pitcher, and the pitcher, depending on the runner's speed, will try to get the runner out. So if it's an even number, if this is a 2 or a 4 or 6, the pitcher, it'll be like a little dribbler to the pitcher. The pitcher will have to roll a 5 or a 6 to get Kerr out. Otherwise, he's going to be safe. If it's a 1, then it's a possible foul out, and you go up here, and a foul out, it's almost going to be always a foul out. In 11 through 62 is a foul out. Only 63, 64, 65, or 66 out of all those numbers would be a foul ball. Or if it's a 3 or a 5, it's a rare play, and you go to the rare play book, which will automatically come up, and a lot of really cool stuff happens, especially with a runner on third, because that doesn't happen very often. So we'll roll this, and we get, okay, it's going to be a dribbler to the mound, pitcher tries to retire batter, roll one against the batter's speed. He's got a, if it's a 1 through 4, it's a single. If it's a 5 through 6, it's an out. It's a 1, a single. Now I think he's going to lose. Yeah, early hook rule comes into effect because he allowed a base runner, and he's going to go to his B rating. You'll see all these numbers up here will blank out, gray out. So they're all gone. You only go by, and these are like his worst possible numbers. So he's in bad shape. And he's also let in 5 runs. And if he gets to 6 runs, I don't know that they've committed an error. So I can look here and see if I think I can look here and see if it's considered. No, he's only given up 4 earned runs, 5 runs, but 4 were earned. So I guess 1 was because of the error. And you can look at the box score here, really cool. And you can go to play-by-play if you're playing a series, and they are playing a series. See, Philadelphia leads the series 1-0, and it shows you what the stats are so far. You can have this sent to an Excel spreadsheet. You can print it, do all this stuff. So now we've batted. I think I'm only going to play the first inning because this has gone on, and it's shown a lot of stuff. So now we've hit through the lineup. We're to the pitcher hitting, and Thornton Lee hit 0.91. So don't expect a lot. Although in real life he had 11 at bats and he had 1 hit. So far he's had 7 at bats with 1 hit. So he's doing better. So 41-year-old Thornton Lee is going to hit, and 31, that's going to be like a short fly out to left. Okay, now that's the 3rd out, and this Monk has an early hook rating. I believe that it's, I'm not maybe it's this number here, but it's a 3. I'm not. When you play game after game, it's like the computer tells you what it is. If you're playing cards and dice, you'd have to look all this stuff up, but I just rely on what the computer is telling me because it's all accurate. So they do a early hook check, and so they did the check. The computer rolled a 5, and it's higher than the early hook rating, which is a 3. It could be a 1 through 5, I guess. And because this early hook check, the number turned out to be higher, because the higher the early hook rating of the pitcher, the more likely it is that he's going to get a bad result. So he reverts to his A grades, and he's not subject to any further early hook checks, so you don't have to worry about that anymore. But he gave up 5 runs, 4 of them earned, so it was not really a successful inning. Now I'll just play one more inning, but I'll kind of go fast. So there is going to be, well, that's a strikeout. Thornton Lee has a pretty low number up there, so he got a strikeout. So now Eddie Miller is up, and Eddie Miller, normally that would be probably a double play situation, but and you can play the infield in, you can play it back, you can play it halfway for double plays, you can play just one, like the first baseman is playing in, or the third baseman is playing in, or both corners. A lot of flexibility when those situations occur. So there's 2 outs. So you see how fast it can go. Now Semenuk is up. That's going to be a fly ball, 16. If there'd be a runner on third, it would have been a sacrifice fly. But it's a 16 and a 3 adds up to 19. If it's possible that if he had a 1 up there, Thornton Lee, instead of a 3, a 1 and 16 or 17, and that would have been the situation where you have a strikeout or a fly out. There's a little thing that happens. you roll a dice, and if it's odd, it's a strikeout. If it's even, it's a flyout or something like that. But all of this is just always really interesting. So now we're at the bottom of the second, and we're back at the top of the order, and you can see Rigney is 0 for 1 in the game, and you can see down here the first time up it was a fly out to right, so that means fly out to right. So you can see how he's done so far in the game, and that is a line out. If this would have been a higher number, let's say this was a 5 plus 29 would have been 34, it would have been a double. But because these cards merge, and he had a low hit number up here, because the column 3 is generally hits, he gets a line out. Okay, one down, and now Lockman is up. Lockman got a hit last time, but this time he strikes out. And now we go to Bobby Thompson, who doubled, and and down here it shows double, and a 1 means that he got 1 RBI on this double because Lockman had been on base. I think he'd stolen second or something like that. And so Thompson is up, and he was hitting 321. He walks. So I was going to see if that changes batting average. It doesn't. It would have changed it. So he has a 40. That indicates that he walks a lot, I think. And then we go to the next hitter, Mize. He's hitting 212. Last time up he walked 212. That's going to barely be a strikeout. And you can see his batting average went from 212 to, well, it went to the other team here, but I can look up here. It went from 212 to 211, so it went down 1 point, which is kind of cool. I'll try to get the, okay, so anyway, that's how to play the game, and they have a lot of seasons. Let me show you. They don't have like every season because there's a lot of work that goes into all these seasons, but they're always coming out with new seasons. So they go way back to 1908. They have some, like here's the Negro League, 1923. They have these decade teams where they have all these teams from the 20s and 30s, all very interesting. And then 41, 44, I'm currently playing 48. They're going to come out with next with season 49, and once you get, then you've got like from season 48, every season consecutively through 1980, but you've got 82, 84, 85. So eventually they will have all the seasons, and it's all set up very conveniently if you want to do replays, but you can also change things around, do draft leagues and stuff like that. But anyway, I give this game my highest rating. You will love it, and you can even get it and play it as a demo to see how you like it, how it works on your computer. So that's all for today. Lefty Dad signing out.